Hello and welcome to Newsfeed, your daily dose of what people are talking about online, from news stories to what's trending. How many times have we all gotten an address mixed up and pitched up at the wrong place? An honest mistake, right? But last week, that very act almost cost Ralph Yarl, a black 16-year-old from Kansas City, his life. The homeowner, 84-year-old white man Andrew Lester, said he felt unsafe and fired through his door. The first gunshot hit Ralph in the head and second, his arm. Ralph's aunt, Faith Spoonmore, explains what happened after the teen rang the doorbell.
A man opened up the door, looked him in the eye, and said, "Don't ever come back here," as he shot him in the head. My nephew fell down and the man shot him again. He was able to get up and ran to the neighbor, who did not open the door. He ran to 3 houses before one of the neighbors said, "Put your hands up and lay on the ground." And then he laid on the ground like he passed out before the neighbor called the police for help.
Accused gunman Andrew Lester has since turned himself in and has been released on bail. He's been charged with first-degree assault and armed criminal action. The first charge carries a sentence of up to life in prison, and the second up to 15 years jail. While he's yet to present his defense, his action could be justified under the Stand Your Ground law, which is effective in 28 U.S. states, including Missouri. Under this law, an individual is allowed to protect themselves with reasonable force, including using deadly force. U.S. President Joe Biden has reached out to the victim's family and says he will continue to fight for stronger gun laws. But in a country that is as racially charged as the U.S., ordinary and influential folk alike are crying foul.
Who decides what's reasonable?
At the first level, it's the prosecutor who decides whether or not to bring charges in the first place.
Then the jury comes who's asked to step into the shoes of the person claiming self-defense and decide if what they did is reasonable. For the vast majority of the world, shooting an unarmed 16-year-old who just happened to knock on the wrong door is not reasonable and in fact abhorrent. But prosecutors and juries have a history of shocking the conscience.
Recall that the first prosecutor in the infamous Ahmaud Arbery case actually declined to bring charges. And then there's the case of Yoshihiro Hattori, who was also 16 years old and an exchange student in the U.S. from Japan living in Louisiana, when he mistakenly went to the wrong house for a Halloween party.
Even though he announced to the homeowner, "We're here for the party," he was shot and killed outside the home. And the homeowner was found not guilty by a jury.
We don't have a race problem in this country, okay? And even if we did, we're not going to talk about it, because talking about it creates division. The racism doesn't create division, talking about it does. And we don't have a gun problem either, okay? It's not a problem that so many people have such easy access to guns, and we have a culture that encourages people to pull out the gun anytime they get the jitters. And it's definitely not a problem that so many white people have so many guns and get the jitters anytime they see a black person. That's not a problem. That's tradition.
Support for the victim, Ralph Yarl, has poured in from all around the world. A GoFundMe set up for him has so far raised close to $3 million. Ralph is now recovering at home, yet the trauma and emotional scars are still raw.
Is Ralph able to communicate, Cleo, with you all with no problem? He can walk and talk and all that stuff?
He's able to communicate mostly when he feels like it, but mostly he just sits there and stares, and the buckets of tears just rolls down his eyes. You can see that he's just replaying the situation over and over again, and that just doesn't stop my tears either. Yeah. Because when you see your kid just sits there and constantly the tears are just rolling from both sides of his eyes, there's nothing you can say to him.
Apple has opened its first store in India, a major milestone for the iPhone maker as it continues its pivot to the world's second largest smartphone market. CEO Tim Cook personally welcomed customers at Apple's flagship store in Mumbai. The tech giant has been operating in India for 25 years, but until now selling products through authorized retailers. Having its own physical stores in the South Asian nation is part of Apple's push to boost sales and manufacturing there. And it's gone down well with the tech savvy. One man even brought in his 39-year-old Macintosh computer.
I came here 6 o'clock in the morning. I've been standing here for 3 hours. I'm super excited to see this Apple store opening in India, the first of a kind in Mumbai. Yeah. And I've got this Mac SE with me, this model. This is 1984 SE. And since 1984, I've been using Apple products.
बहुत ज़्यादा excited है.
It's India's first official Apple store, a glass store. All the products will be available in different colors and varieties. We used to face shortages as there was not enough stock of Apple products here. And we used to have to get stuff from Singapore. And now that won't happen anymore as everything will be available here.
So how is the Apple Store in Mumbai different to all its other official outlets around the world? Does it deviate from Apple's usual glass-cubed look? Well, Banuj went to find out.
25 years after Apple entered the Indian market, the company has opened its first flagship retail store in the country in Mumbai's Bandra Colonies. Apple is also launching a second store in the capital city of New Delhi on Thursday, and the tech giant refocuses its attention on the world's second largest smartphone market. This Mumbai store's design is inspired by the city's iconic black and yellow taxi, and Apple thinks it's one of its most energy efficient computers in the world, running on 100% renewable energy. Apple is hoping that premium Apple experience that these stores provide to consumers will help increase sales as well as its brand presence.
In today's edition of Some CEOs Are Out of Touch, the head of the bougie furniture company that makes the famed Eames and Herman Miller office chairs told her staff to leave Pity City after she was asked during an online town hall if they'd get annual bonuses. Well, that's pretty rich, considering Miller Knoll paid CEO Andy Owen a bonus of $3 million last year.
Don't ask about what are we going to do if you don't get a bonus. Get the damn $26 million. Spend your time and your effort thinking about the $26 million we need and not thinking about what you're going to do if we don't get a bonus. All right? Can I get some commitment for that? I would appreciate that. I had an old boss who said to me one time, you can visit Pity City, but you can't live there. So people, leave Pity City. Let's get it done. Thank you. Have a great day.
Right. Well, Andy Owen probably didn't think that her outbursts would go viral and she'd become the subject of a lot of vitriol online.
It's easy for a CEO to give advice on staying motivated without bonuses when they themselves are reaping huge financial reward. It's an insult to suggest that employees should be motivated by intrinsic factors alone, like purpose and passion, when even the CEO is clearly motivated by profits just as much as the employees.
Now on to another fail, the biggest streaming flop of the year. So Netflix has been trying to diversify its content by offering live programming, but it's learned the hard way that when it's live, it doesn't always go to plan. The world's biggest streaming platform somehow managed to bungle up its much-anticipated Love is Blind live reunion special. Fans waited hours for the reality dating show's live stream, only to be told due to technical issues, the show would instead be taped and uploaded on the site.
I've met the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. I've never seen her before.
Yup, Love is Blind sees contestants propose to each other without ever having laid eyes on one another. Couples date sight unseen, and the series' fourth season was, of course, in true Netflix fashion, filled with drama, and drama. So naturally, when it came time for the reunion special, fans were clamoring for the live stream to see what had happened since the show ended. Netflix had already hit it out of the park with a successful Chris Rock live special in March, so everyone was expecting the same level of streaming wizardry. But as we all know, the best laid plans don't always go to plan. The live stream crashed, and that spawned thousands of memes online from perplexed fans like this one. Netflix acknowledged the delay on Twitter in a pretty genuine-sounding apology and promised to get the show up and running soon, but no such luck. Seriously, how hard can it be to live stream a bunch of reality TV stars talking smack? Well, this netizen reminded us that the moon landing was live in 1969. Yup, 1969, people. And many more roasted Netflix on social media with complaints and mockery pouring in from all corners of the internet. Everyone, and I mean everyone, including big brands, got in on the fun.
Cheesecake Factory started it. They came in and said, at Netflix, this wait is longer than our menu. Come on now. And that was only at like 8:15. And then MTV popped in and was like, can I have some bread at Cheesecake Factory? iHeartRadio popped in and was like, why is everybody yelling at me? BuzzFeed Tasty showed up. I already ate all my snacks. And my personal favorite comment, Cirque du Soleil said, this is a bigger circus than us. I'm sorry. Maybelline comes on with, we're gonna need some extra instant age rewind concealer tomorrow. Oh, cringe. Then Dunkin' Donuts shows up and is like, the live reunion is late for its 8 p.m. meeting. My 9 a.m. doesn't stand a chance. Cute. This one from Cheesecake Factory, we could probably eat all of the items on our menu before it starts.
After an almost 2-hour delay, fans were finally treated to a drama-filled reunion special. It wasn't live though, it was taped. But the epic hot mess didn't end there. As the fans like to say, an unexpected villain emerged. One of the show's hosts, Vanessa Lachey.
I think that even prior to the reunion, we could all agree that Nick and Vanessa are not very good hosts, but last night was profoundly bad.
I'm only 10 minutes and 50 seconds in, and I can tell you why this reunion is terrible. Vanessa's biggest problem as a host is she doesn't know how to listen. And a lot of people think that the job as the host is to talk, but listening is really the biggest skill necessary because you need to pull information from the guests, you need to direct them, and you need to use whatever they say in order to segue to the next person. Vanessa just wants to hear herself talk. So she's trying to make jokes. She's stepping over people. She's doing these very awkward segues that are like, speaking of, like.
The amount of time she asked all the couples when they're having babies, like, people don't have infertility issues. Ma'am, it is 2023. That question should be done away with.
All right, on to what's trending. Well, it turns out one of the winning entries at photography's most prestigious awards isn't actually a photo at all. Well, this image was actually created by artificial intelligence. Boris Eldagson, a photographer turned AI artist, made this by prompting an AI image creator. But he wasn't exactly duplicitous about his entry at the Sony World Photography Awards being made by AI. He titled the image Pseudo-Amnesia, a fake memory, and submitted it to the creative category since it allows the use of any device. And as is common with earlier versions of image generators, the hands kind of give it away. Now, the German artist wasn't really in it for the prize. In fact, he rejected the award. He had a point to make.
I wanted to see if competitions are prepared for AI images to be handed in, and they are not. It's very important that they are aware that there will be more and more AI-generated images in photo competitions, and it should not be mixed up. It's two different things. They look the same, but they shouldn't be in the same category.
The photography community did welcome his rejection of the award. Many now are discussing the future of such competitions. AI tools like Midjourney are getting more powerful each day. How can you tell the difference between an original piece of work and something generated by AI? Now, these questions are not exclusive to images and photography. Another area where AI's exponential growth is creating bigger debate is music production. These days, AI can even create mashups of singers covering a different artist's song. And let me tell you, the creations sound pretty spot on. But how about creating a brand new song with your favorite singers? You may be surprised, but this viral song is not Drake's latest single. It was created by a producer who goes by Ghostwriter on TikTok. They say they produced the song all by themselves and changed the voices with Drake's using AI. At first, some thought this was a publicity stunt disguised as an AI production. Well, probably not, since Drake's label, the Universal Music Group, has been trying to get the song taken down, citing copyright claims. Heart on My Sleeve was streamed more than 600,000 times before it was pulled off Spotify, making Ghostwriter almost $2,000.
Now, the song's already got 10 million views in the last few days. The question is it legal? And the answer is no, it's not legal. And that's because it violates Drake's right of publicity, which gives Drake and only Drake the right to exploit his name and likeness and voice and identity. Now, my guess is Universal Music is going to sue Ghostwriter for every penny he's made and then some, and this is going to set a real precedent going forward.
And that's our show. Find us on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.